Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. Today I am interviewing Chilian Estevez Heredia, founder of Inspiral Ballet. I'm very excited to have her here today because not only is she the founder of Inspiral Ballet, which aim is to educate world-class dancers with a holistic, conscious understanding of their bodies, ballet technique and artistry. She's also an amazing ballet teacher and I'm very grateful to have met her. So without further ado, let's start the interview. How are you today, Chilian?
I'm very well, thank you, Miles. Thank you so much for inviting me to your channel, and thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to be with you here today.
Oh, of course, and I'm very happy to be featured on your channel as well. I think what you're doing with the mind and the body is amazing, and people should definitely know about it. So, I wanted to start with asking you, as a ballet teacher and a dancer yourself, what does ballet mean to you?
Ballet for me is a very difficult question, but I'm gonna try to answer the best possible way. Ballet for me is everything that has been helping me to find who I am as a human being, as a spirit, firstly as a dancer and then as a teacher. So it's passion, it's love, is the way of looking at the human body from a different perspective, and it's excitement. It's happiness.
I love that. And because a lot of dancers will be watching this video, but also I think the information that Chilian knows is not found by anyone really yet in the ballet world. And I think that even non-dancers, everyone can benefit from knowing this information. So I'm very excited to talk to you today.
Oh, thank you.
So can you tell me, how did you start ballet and where did your career take you?
Well, my beginning was a bit of a humpty road. It wasn't straightforward. My family didn't want me to become a ballet dancer. So there were some teachers coming to my little school, my primary school, and they were looking for people to audition for ballet school. And I jumped over and said I wanted to, because all my childhood, I used to have a black and white TV. A Russian black and white TV was really interesting. I used to dance in front of the TV, looking at the ballerinas, and I thought that was really beautiful. It was hard because my mother made me promise that if I start something, I have to finish.
Oh, I see.
So therefore, first couple of years, standing there in front of the bar, working on foundational work, it was quite hard. And I said, this is not exciting at all. This is not what I thought it was. This is something else. But then I remember, you have to finish what you're starting, and perhaps the journey take you elsewhere.
Yes.
So I went into the journey of self-discovering even as a child, because I was standing in front of the bar for such a long time. I learned that I was mindful. So I'm starting to see my body from a different perspective with my childlike mind. So it was a bit of an information coming out that I wasn't understanding, and then I started to see sensations and reactions of the body, and it got exciting all the journey. Then I finished my ballet school in Havana, Cuba. At the age of 17, I went into the ballet company, and after that moved to London a year and a half later, and I danced with London City, EMB. I almost danced with the San Francisco Ballet Company while I was taking classes when they were in London. And I started my journey of self-discovering and discovering the human body from within. What is movement? What is stillness? What's happening when you move from the point of stillness? Simplicity, how simple you make a movement in order to understand how your body as an individual, as something unique, is starting to execute steps, for example, which is most people don't see it from that perspective. I don't want to move because somebody else asked me to. I love asking myself questions. How does it feel to me? How this is going to be beneficial to my body, how my body will execute it. So my curious mind is starting to take me to places that it was fascinating.
Oh, well, that is actually one of the reasons I wanted to speak to you, because that mindset you have is so unique, it's so helpful. And what you were saying about starting from scratch, a lot of people don't realize that those are the foundations to make a good dancer. So I'm very impressed with that. And as the founder of Inspiral Ballet, how did you start it up?
Inspiral Ballet was an idea that is being downloaded to me, like an electrical shock going through my head into my spinal cord and make me move forward. So therefore, I started to see that I have the way that I used to see the body and the way that I align the bodies is like building a PC. So whatever I have in front of me, I trying to readjust it so your programming works better for you. And one of these teachers that I love to see students, dancers, understanding themselves to the depth, and using the information and the organization of the mind-body connection in order to dance without the need of always relying on somebody else for corrections or for advice. So this self-assessment is so important when you're a dancer.
I like that. And so how did you find this unique approach to training? Was it for yourself, or did you just think, well, you realize nobody else is thinking like this, let me try?
Through myself. We as individuals, we all have differences in our physical alignment, and I go different type of feet than everybody else. I'm born with funky feet. I've been told in a yoga class. So one of my toes in both feet didn't really reach the floor properly, so it was very difficult for me to enhance strength and stability of my ankles. So that was my biggest challenge throughout my career. So I used to strengthen my feet really strongly to then, next morning I put my point shoes on and I felt that my ankles were very, very weak because it was difficult. Also being a hyperextended dancer, I have to work double. I could have an amazing extension when I was a dancer, but holding the extension in a place with an alignment, it was a completely different ball game altogether. So I have to work harder for it. So through the challenges that my own body gave me, I realized, okay, this is a challenge, and a challenge is a way of understanding something deeper. And in the way of understanding something deeper, you can convert that challenge into your advance and use it as an information to help you and help others later on. So whatever challenges are there you have, don't see it as a problem, see it as a way of fixing something bigger and better than you are.
Yes, I like that, because you said you had something different with your toes. You made it work.
I made it work.
And as a ballerina, when you go like on the tips of your toes, you would have been doing
even
like
on releve, it's basically 4.5 toes rather than 5.
Yes.
So it's like a chromosome that is missing, so the toes didn't really reach its destination, so it's a lot shorter than it's supposed to be.
And you said as a dancer that you were hyperextended. Could you explain really what the hyperextension is?
Hyperextension is being, so ligaments are kind of like long and very flexible. So the joints, the tensegrity is the tension that holds together two structures. So the tensegrity between one bone and another, it wasn't really strong. So you have to overwork my muscles to get the amount of strength that I needed in order to hold my joints together. So lifting the legs was very easy. Holding it was basically the problem.
I feel like I'm saying. Yeah.
So then you have to, for example, like my core stability was very poorly. So at one point of my life, I ended up doing 2,000 sit-ups daily, which is crazy, but I managed to get used to it, and I managed to do it in half an hour each time for them. So you get used to it and you get to understand, but every time you place yourself in front of a challenge that your body or your mind gave you, it's an opportunity, it's a new opportunity, it's a new door that is opening. So it's not what's happening to you, it's how you use what is in front of you.
I like that a lot, and that is very helpful actually. So what would you say to all the ballet dancers watching, and dancers in training? What should ballet dancers prioritize whilst training? Because a lot of people don't know where to start off, but what should they prioritize for their training?
Well, ballet for me is a mind, dance in general is a mind-body connection. If you have issues with your environment, if you have issues with who you are, what you do, and you have all sorts of blockages, like emotional blockages, it's very difficult for you to dance freely, happily. So one of the biggest priorities is to work within yourself. See where your block is, how can you release all your emotional blockage, the way of thinking is your perspective of your own life, of who you are. For example, when I teach, I always say things that sounds like a joke, but it's not. My voice is a noise on the background. Because whatever I said, it shouldn't affect you in the negative way. It's supposed to affect you in the positive way. If by accident we have a misunderstanding that it could happen in any situation, I would love to apologize, but if the dancer, for example, doesn't really understood and took it the wrong way, it shouldn't affect them, because the only person that lives with you for their entire life is yourself. So you're supposed to have a high opinion of yourself and a high regards towards yourself, accept yourself as you are, even with your abilities and disabilities, and believe in yourself. That's the first thing. Then work on your base foundation. Work on your body, as how is my body responding to me? How is my connection between my mind, my body? How my muscles reacting to my information? And establish an organized conversation from head to toes and toe to head in order for your body to work with you. You don't having a fight with yourself. You don't persecuting yourself. You don't make yourself uncomfortable. You're working in a loving, beautiful way, because your body is your vehicle of transportation in this lifetime.
Yes, I like that. So you're also saying that corrections are there to help. People shouldn't take it the wrong way.
So not every correction is for everyone.
Yes.
In class, and that's something that we have to understand as we get older, especially when you're a dancer. So some corrections are good for some people, but some corrections are not good. So you take everything that the person in front of you gave you, and you analyze it, you process it, you metabolize it, and then you bring it into your body, and with your body you both deciding if that correction is good for you or you dismiss it. But not from the place of ego, because this is not good for me. This from the place of a humble approach that I already metabolize this information, I already see it, and I'm now going to try to see is this good or not for me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Very good advice there. And you know, as we're speaking to dancers mainly, this can also apply to anyone. But what should dancers look out for and be careful of when going for their career?
Be careful of bad corrections. Be careful of trying to run before you crawl. Some dancers, they wanted to dance, and forget that technique is there for a reason. Technique and artistry, they are supposed to go hand in hand. Some people are very artistic and they kind of say, okay, my technique is not that great, but I'm not going to pay attention to it because all I want to do is have a job and go for it. This is a very dangerous scenario, because in the process you might be asked by a choreographer which is expecting you to have the technique and the stability that you need in order for you to do his choreography. He's not going to stop there and wait for you to be technically well, so he will tell you what to do. So just a big leap or even a small step that is very fast with the music, you could injure yourself. And some injuries are a bit more tricky than others in order to heal. So work on your body, understand the illusion of a straight line, because everything is spirals in the universe, including our bodies. Understand the illusion and trying to understand how you can work with this illusion of the straight line from your skeletal system upwards.
Okay, I see.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that's very good advice. And you know, a lot of dancers watching this could be in ballet school, very young dancers, and it might be a shock to you because you don't think, you know, outside of your training. But you know, how this can happen to dancers, and from someone who is so seasoned as a ballerina and has had their career and now has the knowledge, how should dancers deal with setbacks and even, a less polite word, it's like sabotage in a career?
Well, setbacks and sabotage is come from the feeling uncomfortable and uneasy within yourself. And I wish I knew everything that I know now when I was a dancer, because it could have made my career a lot better. For example, I used to get really upset with myself when I was doing pirouettes because I wanted to do it perfectly, and there was not always perfection, and I was going on and on and on in my head. So, and that is a sabotage for me. Because when you are upset with yourself, the way you talk to yourself is negative, it's not positive. Do this, kind of like, you should be better than you are, you should. And instead of doing it with that approach, trying to be more loving, more kind to yourself. And if you find that something is not working, one step back is always better. Step back and say, why is not working? What is really happening? Sometimes you go to class and your body is there, but your mind is not. So if your mind is somewhere else because you have an issue, or I don't know, you're looking for somewhere to live and you're in a foreign country, you could be stressed out about something, and that will reflect. So try always to see if you can have a minute to center yourself and to understand. Lots of journaling. One of the biggest things that you can do in order to get to know yourself is writing your autobiography. And you can write it over and over and over again until you realize what is the things that is pushing you backwards. Setbacks is one of those. Setbacks is sometimes because somebody said something that you didn't like it, or we have different type of teachers, different type of approach, and some people are shouting and screaming and even throwing shoes into class. I've seen it all. So to dancers, which is not nice. You're supposed to understand that whatever that person mood is in front of you is nothing to do with you. Don't take it personal. Nothing that a teacher or a master said is personal. So you take it, the correction, and whatever else is added to it, you dismiss it. So don't think the person because it's kind of like in a bad mood, or they talking to you in an aggressive manner, is that because you're doing something wrong. That's nothing to do with you. That is because that person having a bad day or having solved their issues. So by not reacting to those moments, you will give the person in front of you the ability to understand that she or he is doing something that shouldn't.
I love that. That is a mindset that we all want. It's all from the mind.
It's all from the mind. It's all that connection. It's all by kind of like constantly watching over yourself. Be vigilant. What am I doing? What am I saying? Am I making a mistake? Let me correct. And don't be afraid to apologize.
Yes. And so that, it's so much about the mind. But in relation to the mind and the body, what should male and female dancers do to keep a balanced diet?
Balanced diet. Okay, balanced diet is very difficult because it's a huge amount of information everywhere about diet. For me, I'm going back to basics. Everything. So you will have the composition of yourself. So, because our bodies, our organism is composed out of cells. So I'm going to see my cells are composed out of 70 to 80% water. So, 10 to 20% protein and 1 to 5% minerals. So if you think about water, you have to be hydrated, but no, hydration is not only water. Hydration is water and minerals. So then you have your protein and your carbohydrates is at the center of the cell. So if you keep a balance between the amount of liquid that you take, the body uses more protein when you exercise to fuel carbohydrates and minerals. So you basically say, eat a lot of fruits, eat a lot of veggies because you don't want to be on a full stomach on the stage or feeling uncomfortable when you're rehearsing, which is really, really bad. We've all done it, right? So trying to see what is good for you as an individual. For example, some people love to have a huge steak before a performance, so they feel strong, they feel good. So some people likes to have a very light meal, a salad. So everything is good as long as your body is agreeable with you, and it feels healthy and it feels happier about it. So the balanced diet is the one that you find for you, that it works for you. That's the balanced diet.
Yes, okay, I like that a lot, what works for you. And would you say also food feeds the mind as well?
Yeah, you have food that, for example, like you do your research, because up there is a lot of information. So you do the research. There is food that is really good for your mind. There are food that is very good for your muscles. There are food that are really, really good for your elasticity as well.
Okay.
So you see and you play around. You play around until you found the perfect combination. As I believe we humans, we're all individuals.
I like that a lot.
No one size not always fit all.
Okay, I see. It's a good way to think about it. And so, what would you say is the best way to keep a healthy mindset, whether you're a dancer or you're not? What would you say?
Look around your environment. So is your friends and the people that you're mingling or hanging around with are having a positive mindset. So that's a very important. We are social creatures and we are so badly influenced sometimes by society. So sometimes if you are hanging around with people who are slightly negative, it can pull you down. So always look at yourself from the highest perspective. So elevate your emotions every morning. So it's kind of like, how do I feel about myself? I love myself. I feel good about myself. My day is going to be amazing. So in the beginning, it could sound a bit silly, a bit stupid to say these things to yourself, but gradually you will kind of like starting to feel better about who you are. So and enhance your positivity. So for example, instead of saying, oh, my rehearsal today was appalling, say, okay, my rehearsal today wasn't as good as I wanted to be. I'm going to make a list of the things that I wanted to improve in the rehearsals, and I'm going to try to see if I can do it in my mind first before I go to sleep. I'm going to rehearse it in my mind, and in the morning I'm going to rehearse it again as I wake up, and I'm going to go into the studio first thing with a new mindset, because the body follows the mind.
I like that.
So
yes, brilliant. And for the last question, I'd like to ask you, what are the top principles of Inspiral Ballet?
Top principles: the mind-body connection, arts and consciousness united. Arts is a force that moves humanity. Since the beginning of times, we need to embellish everything around us, and we wanted to dance, we wanted to move in order to express what we can express with words. And consciousness is the way in which you are aware, the awareness of your inner and outer world. So how do I feel inside and how do I feel from my outside? It's a way of uniting everything around you, but uniting from the place that I am more than just a body, and I am more than just a mind. I am more than this movement. I am an unlimited, multidimensional being having a human experience. So my approach to Inspiral Ballet is you have 4 bodies. Something that the Mayas used to talk about, the Vedas used to talk about, the Buddhists are talking about. So the 4 bodies are your mental body, your physical body, your energetic body. Sorry, no, let's go back. You have your mental, your physical, your emotional, and your energetical. Well, we can call it energetical or spiritual, whatever you fancy, because we are electricity. We are electromagnetic beings. We have the positive, the negative, and the electromagnetics flowing into our bodies in spirals. That's why I have 2 spirals around the waist instead of a tutu.
Yes, oh, I love that on your Inspiral Ballet icon.
So,
but really, yes, thank you so much, Chilian. I know I've learned so much from you, and I'm so happy that you could share your knowledge with other dancers, because in ballet school, they won't tell you everything. You might not even know as a fully grown adult and a professional dancer or a non-dancer, having this connection and having these tips are really going to help a lot of people. So I'm very happy to share that with you guys today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mile. It's been a pleasure having this interview with you, and it's also been a pleasure working with you in class as well. You are one of those people that really going deeper into the body and trying to understand everything. And when you see from a perspective of a teacher, when you see somebody bottle in, as I call it, with a genie inside the bottle, not outside the bottle. So bottle in yourself to go through everything and organizing and having this conversation, and you see the concentration is so deep that you don't even want it to disturb sometimes with the correction. You were like, wow, that's fantastic.
Yes.
And that for me is a huge gift.
Yes, no, I've made so many discoveries with you in ballet class. You're an incredible teacher, and really it has changed the way I dance, and I'm very grateful. I wish for everyone to know this knowledge. But thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Miles.
Please guys, remember to like and subscribe to both our channels. Check out Inspiral Ballet on Instagram, and please stay connected. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye guys.
Bye.